Hello. We're doing a brief overview when it comes to multiplying numbers. And when it comes to multiplying numbers, there are a few things to keep in mind. And when you do more difficult examples, sometimes you use mental math, sometimes you use paper math, sometimes you use calculator math. I would advise you, if you don't have to use a calculator, same thing I've said before, on addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division, don't. Because your mind's like a muscle, and it really does get stronger when you practice it. There are examples, though, when you're multiplying that you should just use a calculator because you'll be sitting there for 30 minutes trying to plug in 13.8765 times 3.835, whatever. That takes too long. But when it comes to these types of problems, learn to do it mentally, or at least learn to do it on paper. With that said, we're going to go ahead and multiply these numbers. And as you can see, I came up with similar numbers for each example because I want to point out the differences on what's going on here. 3 times 4. I remember when I first learned multiplication, I was so excited because I thought to myself, wow, I don't have to keep adding things anymore. But my mind caught on quickly to multiplication, and if you practice, yours will too, if it hasn't already. So you have 3 times 4. Basically what that means is you're going to take the number 3 4 times. And you can do it on your fingers or you can do it in your head. 3, 6, 9, 12. It's 12. But I'm not going to sit here and teach you the multiplication facts. Instead, what I want to do is talk about negative numbers and how they change multiplication, or the product of something. If you have a negative times a positive, the answer is still 12. But when you have a negative times a positive number, the answer is negative. Same thing here. 3 times 4 is 12. And when you have one negative number and one positive number, the answer is negative. Here you have negative 3 times negative 4. The answer is still 12. And a negative times a negative is a positive. Let me go ahead and take the time to explain this now. If you have an even amount of negatives that you're multiplying, if you're multiplying 2 negatives, or 2 negative numbers, or 4 negative numbers, or 6 negative numbers, or 8 negative numbers, or 10 negative numbers, etc., pardon me, the answer is positive. If you're multiplying 1 negative number with a positive number, or 3 negative numbers total, or if you're multiplying 5 negative numbers, an odd amount of negative numbers, the answer is negative. With that said, and if it didn't make sense, go ahead and rewind it back on your tape and listen to it again. And then look at the example. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. If you have an even amount of negatives that you're multiplying, the answer is positive. What happens if you don't have any negatives? The answer is positive. If you have an odd amount of negatives that you're multiplying, the answer is negative. A negative times a negative cancels and becomes a positive, but then you have another negative left over. So the answer is negative 24. Now I decided to put this challenge problem in because sometimes students are a little shy about fractions. I'm here to tell you that when you're multiplying fractions, it's not a big deal at all. It really isn't. You could do a cross-canceling aspect, but we're not there yet. I just want to show you a way that I would show my students, especially ones who are afraid of multiplying fractions. When you're multiplying fractions, if there's one of the numbers that isn't a fraction, make it a fraction. Well, that makes it difficult. No, it doesn't. You got negative 1/2, you got 4/3, you have 3. But 3 is the same thing as 3 over 1. If a number doesn't have a denominator, that denominator is automatically 1. And by denominator, I mean number on the bottom. Now let's alleviate some fears. You have a negative, positive, positive. How many negatives do you have? 1. So your answer is negative. Here we go. Here's how you multiply fractions. 1 times 3 is 3. 3 times 4 is 12. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. Negative divided by a positive. Negative. 12 divided by 6, 2. And that's actually what we're going to get into next. Division of numbers. With that said, hope that helped. Have a great day for now. Goodbye.